President Trump has repeatedly called on his supporters to watch what's happening at their polling places, and that's essentially a poll watcher. But what exactly can a poll watcher do? ABC 10 News anchor Derek Stahl is going in depth to explain the rules and why some California election officials are concerned.
They're trying to rig an election, and we can't let that happen. I hope you're all going to be poll watchers. I hope you are.
For weeks, President Trump and his son Don Jr. have been recruiting tens of thousands of volunteer poll watchers for what they're calling the Army for Trump.
We need every able-bodied man, woman to join Army for Trump's election security operation.
In response, California's Secretary of State sent out a memo last week to county election officials, urging them to be prepared for potential cases of voter intimidation.
I think the operative term here is that they have the right to observe. They do not have the right to interfere and intimidate.
Election observers can monitor what goes on at polling places or at the Registrar of Voters' office, where the ballots are processed and counted. Observers have been part of U.S. elections since the 1700s. Anyone can be an observer in California, but they're often partisan volunteers supplied by campaigns or political parties.
The fact you have two opposing sides engaging in this poll watching activity keeps each side honest.
Attorney Dan Eaton says the idea is to promote transparency and public trust, and it's all carefully spelled out in state law. Observers can take notes and record video of election workers, but they cannot touch any voting materials or equipment. They can speak with poll workers, but they cannot communicate with voters.
People can't show up and kind of block the path or taunt or jeer or, give voters any hassle or trouble when they're trying to engage in their civic duties. So
Pam Smith is with Verified Voting. She says there are strict rules on what observers can wear, nothing with political messaging and nothing that resembles a security guard, a tactic that was used to suppress Latino voters in Orange County in 1988.
Well, if you look at voting rights over many years, there has been a history of voter intimidation, people showing up armed in front of polling places.
Violators can be charged with a felony. So what can they do? Poll watchers are there to observe and report discrepancies, and they get access to the roster of voters that's posted at polling places. Campaigns use those for last-minute get-out-the-vote efforts. Then there's a different kind of election observer at the Registrar of Voters' office. These partisan observers can challenge mail-in ballots over discrepancies as they're processed, and they can potentially get ballots tossed out.
There's a dozen different things you look for.
Political analyst John Dadian says there are often challenges over the signature on the mail-in ballot or whether the oval is properly filled in. And he says in tight races, these kind of observers can have an impact. Take the San Diego mayor's race in 2004.
One candidate, Donna Fry, got several thousand more votes than her opponent, but several thousand votes were discounted, and she did not become mayor. There's an example of where it absolutely made a difference. It changed the whole direction of the city.
There will be added restrictions on election observers this cycle because of the pandemic. In San Diego County, they have to wear a mask, answer a health questionnaire, and stay in a designated area. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News.
A golf